K24's New Dawn in studio. I have Honorable Marian Kitani. She is the Aldai Member of Parliament, Nudin Kagai, an advocate of the High Court, and Professor Fred Ogola, an economic and governance expert actually. And I was to get to you, Prof. Ogola, on the headline, on the People Daily, that is the Unshaken, and also the image that is there, the photo that is there, of a young man, of course unarmed, but brave enough to face the police, who have batons, tear gas canisters, and even guns. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so I'll start by making my comments by saying that this headline looks like another headline which was there on June 19th last year. Because last year, when we went to court, we tried to stop William Ruto from the house levy and everything. There was a headline which was there in one daily, which was written under Ruto is unstoppable. So this unstoppable, Mheshimiwa has an issue when Ruth says unshakable. But Ruto was unstoppable. So now youths are unshakable. Then now Ruto is stoppable. So we're just going through the same scenario, because when they felt they are unstoppable, they are invulnerable, they cannot be touched. They're just, they are unbogable. Now youths have come back to see and say that they are unbogable. This song was sung on the street on the day that the Gen Zs entered Parliament, and the unbogable actually is the unshakable thing. So let me go back and ask myself, who should be shaken? Because Mheshimiwa here believes that maybe youth should not be shaken. According to me, the sovereign power belongs to the people. When the owner of the sovereign power came to the street in tears, with water, with a bottle of water and a phone, and you shoot them, I think for me we have to go and really define the implication of the sovereignty of the people. And I was listening to my brother Nodin. Let me tell you, even the owner of the sovereign power cannot be told how to exercise it. When I come to the city and say I'm dissatisfied as a people, not just Fred Ogola being stubborn, but these are people across all the counties in Kenya saying they are not happy. When the president was elected, he said the people have spoken. And that was across all the counties. Let me say that if I don't want to go whether election was or not, because that is not the issue here. We have a government in place. So the president said the people have spoken. Why not say now the people have spoken? The people have spoken. They have shaken you. They have stopped you. You have declined a finance bill. They have stopped you. You have called off the cabinet. Dissolving a whole cabinet means the president was not even able to select. Can you imagine if you fire everybody you hired without any? Does it mean you had a bad decision making? And you retain the person who actually is illegal in office? So according to me, if you look at the whole sovereignty of people, and I think we need to dwell on this. Actually, I want to write a commentary on this one. Because what does sovereignty means? In this book called Solomonic, I wrote and said we should be able to pay our taxes and run our country according to our taxes. Because if we get money from somewhere else or another sovereign state, then actually we shall start serving that sovereign state, not our own. But that does not mean overtaxation. The taxes we collect in this country is not the issue. I've always said in this book that revenue is not the issue. The issue is expenditure. Over expending, like Kenya Kwanza showed that they can do everything. In fact, Mheshimiwa, I want you to go to Parliament this time and tell them the supplementary budget is completely insensitive, and I think that Gen Zs should take this seriously, because I saw Kimani Korea saying the other day they have cut more money from development and put that money on recurrent expenditure. No one has taken any cuts, but they have just decided to shift this money again to lower development, which means there will be no more job creation and the rest. Well. And when I saw, just to finish, why I'm so concerned about this sovereignty chapter only. Can you imagine, Joel, that a government writes a budget of 4.2 trillion, then tells the owner of the sovereign power that I've frozen employment. Can you imagine that with a budget of 4.2 trillion, there is no zero job being created? I was just wondering that, Professor Njuguna Njungu, please, my dear, are you an economist? Because for me, if you add me 100,000 shilling salary, at least I'll hire a gardener. Is this money really meant for this young man here? Do you know why this man is standing here? He's even having no bare chest. He's lost everything. He's lost dignity. Look at how he's being treated. So he's saying, I'm unshaken because I have nothing to lose, because I've already lost everything. And Joel, remember I was on this set when I said, I'm Professor Fred Ogola. I have the qualifications we have in this country, isn't it? Why me, I'm not employed with 5 graduate degrees, 2 master degrees, a PhD, 16 World Bank certification, while a class 6 is in the cabinet, while the president himself, and I'm going to repeat, because I said here that his economic model cannot work, will not work, append it in a book, then he has the audacity to call Strathmore where I was working to get me fired. That's what I'm trying to say. Even me, I was on the street. The bullet that hit that boy was 3 meters away from me. I have nothing to lose. I'm also unshaken. And I'm with the Gen Zs. I am also as unshaken as them. And I'm celebrating. The Ruto is now stoppable.
At least you said you are with the Gen Z and you're not a Gen Z.
Yes. I'm not, of course, I have to agree that. And I'm on the street.
Yes. Still on the cover page of the People Daily, of course, we'll be getting to the issue of demonstrations and how the government can restore the confidence. On the cover page of the People Daily, serial killer now disowns a confession. That is on page 2, where the suspect arrested in connection to the mysterious murder of women whose bodies were dumped at an abandoned quarry in Quarry area of Embakasi claimed that he was tortured to confess to the killings. Through his lawyer, that is John Maina, Collins Jumaisi Halusha, disowned a confession associated with him by the DCI, adding that he was not in any way involved in the killings, nor did he have any association with the one who could have been involved. Appearing before the principal magistrate, that is Irene Gishobi at Makadara Law Courts, Jumaisi said he was tortured to confess and own up things that are alien to him. He opposed the DCI homicide unit to detain him for 30 days to actually conclude investigations into at least 40 cases of murder suspected to be linked to him. Honorable Marian Kitani, actually, most bodies that have so far been confirmed, over 10,
are women.
Are women. Yes. As a, a legislator, of course, being a woman, how do you react to this?
First and foremost, Joel, is that from 2022 to 2024, where has NIS been? Where has DCI been? Where has the whole police, who are funded by the Exchequer, properly funded, been? The first death, when it happened, why didn't anybody detect? Even these particular affairs, why didn't anybody detect? It is until you find 42 bodies, or you discover there are 42 deaths that have gone through a similar prospect, or a similar way, that this happens. For me, I think it was a failure of the system right from the word go, because the reason why we have all these security agencies, we have NIS, we have DCI, we have AP, we have all these arms of security, is so that one is a check of the other. And for me, NIS should always be within us and around us, so that they are able to detect and talk about issues that are happening with the societies, and the next arm of government, the next arm of the security, which is DCI or the police itself, now takes action. So for me, from 2022 to now, what has been happening? And more importantly, as women, because just before this, there was a time when they said women who used to eat fair were, when they are finally found, they were being murdered. And I remember about last year, there were issues of women who had been murdered. And I think we raised our voice as women at that time to say, we need our women saved. And if we go through, if we look at that story and this one, it looks like that trend continued. Because when you find this murder case and a private part is missing, what is it that is being looked for in that, in that private part? Let's look at even Shakahola, the Shakahola murder cases. It took so long before the police discovered? After how many dead bodies? After how many people disappeared? And if today I go to a police station and report my person has disappeared, somebody else goes to another police station in another part of the country and says my person has disappeared, what is the intelligence and police doing to make sure that that one person, we don't need 100, we need that one person discovered, recovered, and whatever it is that has caused that person to disappear is sorted out? For me, this particular issue was a failure of our security system. And I will not shy away to say that we, the women of this country, require protection, because that is what we subscribe to as a country. We cannot be walking in the streets and we don't know whether we'll be hijacked or sweet-talked into getting to our deathbed, because many of these are ladies or young ladies or women who maybe are told, these love affair issues, and you are called in, and the next time you are no longer, you are no more. It is so unfair. I cannot, for sure, sit here and say I'm going to condone any of such.
To Nadine, being a lawyer or an advocate of the High Court, you bring, or the DCI brings forth Collins Jumaisi as the main suspect, in a media briefing, saying that he has confessed to killing over 40. However, because of course with the judicial system that we have, he can give his defense. While in the Makadara law court, he comes out clean that he's not aware of whatever information the DCI gave to Kenyans, that he killed over 40 Kenyans. What do you make of it, and how will this
2 women
influence the case, or which direction, or what next for the DCI?
This reminds me of a song, he come and drum and come and feed you, because the most interesting thing is DCI claimed that he confessed, but in court he just said that he was molested and tortured into confession. That in itself is duress. Those are the allegations that he said he was tortured and molested. Those allegations, they say that is duress. So if it is duress, then the confession does not stand. And it does not even stand the test of time. So if you look at how she just talked about NIS, DCI, and how they handle their issues. I'll give you another example. Another office, that is the ODPP. Explain to me why they decided to bring this person before the Kiambu court, when the bodies were not in Kiambu. The murders, alleged murders, were not done in Kiambu. And the principal magistrate here, Peter Oko, says he questioned why the prosecution wanted to file an application in Kiambu, stating that the jurisdiction is wrong, and send them to Makadara. Again, back to those offices that are funded. So how do you run your affairs? For me, this is, if you're an advocate, the easiest thing is this is a PO on jurisdiction, and it fails. Because if, for example, the murders happen in Nairobi, why are you taking someone to Kiambu? There's a reason why we have jurisdiction. And this is why we also have an issue with the arrests that we see, the arbitrary arrests. Someone is arrested in Nairobi, is found in Kajiado. Reason being, why do you produce him in a court in Kajiado? Jurisdiction again. And that's why we talk about how things are being done in this country. You see, and when some cheer about that, when it happens to you, then you realize that that is wrong. Because someone's arrested in Nairobi, wakes up in Kakamega. Reason being, there's no reason. So for me, I wait to see the application they filed before court, because I've been sent to Makadara Magistrates Court for them to file their application. But it begs the question, you arrest someone. I've never understood this nonsense. You arrest someone, you take them to court, and then you ask for time to investigate. So before you arrest this person, you need to investigate. As it make sense. So I arrest you, I take you to court, then ask 14 days to do investigation. There's no charge sheet, but I am in court. I'm the suspect apparently, or I am the perpetrator, but there's no charge sheet, so I need 14 days. And you see, the courts have time without number refused to grant such orders because they are more or less just an abuse of the court's process. So we need these offices that are funded, as she rightfully says, we need to have competent people there. Because the worst thing we have, for example, is a lot of incompetence across board. When people talk about the cabinet that went home, most of them were inept, were incompetent. It is true. And it speaks of kakistosy, where you see only the incompetent, inept run affairs of a country, not just in the cabinet, across board. So we need to come somewhere as a country and refuse incompetence. And I think this is why Gen Z are on the road. And Mwalimu is with them as well. You see, because people are asking for competent individuals to run the affairs of the country. Because with incompetence, how do you account for funds? You saw yesterday what the Auditor General is saying. 1.4 trillion contractual loans that cannot be audited. We talk about she doesn't know she doesn't have the physical public audit amount. So we have a question, so what are we paying? What did we pay? What do we owe? So those are the questions we have.
Well,
and when we raise that, some will say we are being anti. It's not a matter of being anti. There's no one that is anti-government. Any person, any sane human being wants a government to succeed. So when you ask questions, it is pro-governance, pro-accountability, and pro-constitutionalism.
Prof. Ogola, I saw one of your videos on TikTok on the ABCs of these quarry killings.
Yes.
Perhaps just a recap of what you're explaining. And now that the suspect has also come out to confess that he has actually disowned the sole confession the DCI said that he had killed over 40 since the year 2022.
Yeah. So if you, actually in the TikTok I was trying to say actually that I don't know even why it went viral. But what I was trying to explain there is that the DCI went against what is called the principles of investigation. Because you see, the law says that you are innocent until proven guilty. But the backdrop of that, how that can be executed is in what I call ABC. The first A is called assume nothing. So when you suspect somebody, or you arrest somebody, or you see a case, don't start making assumptions, because assumptions are not investigations. So when this guy, even if he said the guy came and offered himself that I killed 42 people, what was the DCI assuming? Was he assuming that that confession means this guy is right? Or Kenyans, actually, why did we even assume that these people are arresting the right person? I was in Kware. Actually, I ate tear gas there. I staged a demonstration right in Kware, because when I went there, I saw Kware police station covered by GSU. I was wondering, what are they protecting in the police station there? When I look on this side, citizens were being tear gassed. On the other side, Raila was holding a very peaceful rally guarded by GSU policemen. So I saw a lot of contradictions in that place. I was wondering, was it that people are being managed, that now they're being listened to for a therapy, yet people are right in the water? I saw a government official, let me just say, be honest, Azimio arrived there with almost 17 vehicles, Land Cruisers vehicles. Yet there's a young man using just a sufuria to draw bodies from the water. I was seeing a contradiction. With 17 fuel guzzlers, when you are driving 17 fuel guzzlers, while no one can think about an equipment to remove dead Kenyans in the water, I was seeing insensitive government, insensitive leaders. I was just wondering why even people were giving Azimio all that attention, yet they could not start thinking about critical issues. How can we remove the bodies from the water? How can we cordon the area so that this area is taken care of, protect our security area? So there was too many assumptions that the government, which has never delivered any single investigation successful, call it Musando case, Jacob Juma, call it Robert Owuko, Tom Boya, Jem Kariuki, we have never seen any successful investigation that told Kenya the truth. So I'm telling Kenya with ABC, assume that there will be any evidence and there will be any truth about it. Do not assume the government is going to give anything to give you. We are still having Shakahola. 1 year down the line, we still do not know exactly what happened in Shakahola. That has kind of been forgotten. Now we are having Kware ongoing. We are having police brutality. So assuming the government is going to do its work, remove. And then I talk about the B. Believe nothing. Because they even don't believe the DCI, do not even believe the presence of the police inspector general there, because there are people who are actually presiding over the brutality we are going through. And they work in I would call them, they work in, let's say, they work in kind of a way on which no information should, because these guys are protecting the government, they're not protecting citizens. How can we be in a scene of crime we are mourning and we are being tear gassed? You know, I'm seeing a lot of contradiction there. So believing that this government is going to do the right thing is not right, because if the DCI want to prosecute, if these people, for example, were killed by the police, let me say, assuming that they were killed by the police, do you think that the police investigators will come out and tell you that they were killed? Why was it that immediately the Inspector General, his first decision, which means, for me, according to me, the Inspector General failed on his first duty. by transferring all the policemen from Kware police station has always been used as a strategy to hide evidence. Take away the perpetrators away from the predators away from actually the prey. So according to me, that was a very bad decision. So we cannot believe this government. You talk about the issue of bringing up public confidence. Has the government acted in a way to show that we can get back public, let's say, trust in them?
For the interest of time, the C.
The last one is the C. Is called check everything. Here it means that we have to turn all the stones. We don't leave any stones unturned. In investigation, even if you see something which looks very normal, that's when you should look at it. So you check people's phone, check people's rooms, check government entities, even under the bed, wherever it is, you have to check everything. So as an investigator, before rushing to make a conclusion, that's why I said, within very few minutes, even before even DNA has been done, you are rushed and said, this man is the one who killed the 45 women. You don't know the linkage between. That young man has no capacity to carry 42 bodies right there without being noticed. I can tell you. Many people have been caught with domestic violence where somebody has killed his wife and they are incapable of even hiding that. One person carrying, can you imagine carrying one person? What does he have? That gun has a truck. That boy has access to those rubbish trucks that can carry those bags there. Then another thing which which was very, very sensitive to me, which I have to notify here. If you look at the sacks which are coming out from the quarry, they look too fresh to believe that those bodies entered those sacks when they were fresh. Because if they enter there when they had just been killed or put there, you could see a lot of blood. In fact, you could not even recognize the color of that thing. I am not a DCI, but I can tell already that the DCI is leading us towards not knowing the truth rather than leading us towards the truth.
And of course, on matters that is a Gen Z protest, will be touching it on them from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. But on page 2 of the People Daily, Meru MCAs target Mwangaza again for impeachment. Embattled Meru Governor Kawera Mwangaza is once again walking a tightrope after some members of the County Assembly filed yet another impeachment motion as some residents push for the county to be suspended, while the motion is scheduled for tabling in the Assembly today. 9 voters have written to President William Ruto asking him to suspend the county on the grounds that it has turned into a national shame and an object of ridicule. The 9 petitioners argue that the political differences between Mwangaza and MCAs have reached an irreconcilable level, and the suspending the county is the only remedy. Honorable Marian Kitani, a woman governor is yet again on the spot.
Women, we have issues. Anyway, I don't want to look at it as a women governor, or I want to look at it as Meru County. From immediately after elections to now, we have had case after case of impeachment, and it looks like they will just wait for the 6 months period to lapse so that they can bring back the case again. When will Meru people ever get services of a county government? 5 years will lapse when they are doing this cat and mouse game. I think I tend to agree with the 9 residents who have said dissolve this county government, because if you look at this county government, there's no work that is going to be delivered. The governor requires the MCAs to pass her budget. The governor requires the MCAs to oversight her. The governor cannot work without MCAs. So in short, it's just like saying the president and his National Assembly, if we don't work together, that is to get his budgets to be passed, to get his appointments approved, to get all those things, that nothing will happen. So, and you cannot work without, and for counties, they cannot work without a county assembly. So in short, what are we saying? We are actually saying that that county is dysfunctional as it is, because if you have MCAs all the time wanting to impeach you, it means that they are going to make sure that even if you have the right policies, even if you have the right things that the Meru people may want, they will not get it, because the MCAs will not give you that opportunity. So in my view, I think it's about time that county government be impeached, be dissolved, so that now we can get new breed. Let everybody go back to elections. Well, yeah, and I think the other main problem that the governor is suffering is she came on an independent ticket. I think she's about the only governor who came on independent ticket. And if you compare her with Kivutha Kibwana the first time. I think Kivutha Kibwana also came on an independent ticket, and during the 5-year period, he also had a similar issue to a point where he wrote to the president at that time to say, dissolve this county assembly because it is not going to work. So in this case, I believe it is a similar thing because she came on an independent ticket. The other MCAs now came on various party tickets. So to put these people together is an uphill task. Well,
we are due for a commercial break, but before that, just to highlight what is on our dailies, that is the Daily Nation splashes protest deaths 50. That is what, as you can see on the screens, that is the landmark death toll exposed yesterday. On the Standard newspaper, paralysis as Gen Zs turn hit on the counties, and also still on the same cover page of the people of the Standard. This is the cabinet we want, Kenyans tell Ruto. On the Star newspaper, business paralyzed as the protests continue. President Ruto has accused non-government organizations of sponsoring the demos. And finally, on the Taifa Leo, kumbe mambo bado. Vijana wamekwamisha shughuli katika maeneo tofauti ya nchi baada ya kuandaa maandamano ya pili kwa ukubwa baada ya kuvamia bunge mwezi jana. We take a short commercial break at this point. When we come back, we'll be focusing on how to restore the public confidence, especially, of course, that is the restoration of the public confidence that touches on the Gen Z's demonstration, when and what will make them come to an end, and also several other matters. Keep the conversation going. That is our social media platforms at K24 TV, Joel Chacha, and I'll be sampling some of your feedback. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
When it's a Saturday, there's only one entertainment show in East and Central Africa. Arena 254. Join Aisha Wanjiko and Tony Mwirigi for all the artistic interviews fused with amazing entertainment conversations and sizzling hot live DJ mixes.